My name is Annette Bailey, and I am the Economic Empowerment Specialist here at New Friends, New Life. January 2024, I'll be with New Friends, New Life 6 years.
This Annette, she is contagious in the most amazing way. You're around her and you're not the same person afterwards. What makes Miss Annette's story so unique is how it's just an example of humanity, because her story could have easily gone the other way. We would have never known her name. Who knows where she would have been? But someone saw past what she was being charged with. He saw past the environment that she was in and saw someone who needed and deserved a way out.
Where I grew up was in Oak Cliff. Back in the 60s, that was a quaint, quiet little neighborhood. But then drugs and prostitution and gangs started getting in the way. I had some strict parents. I had a father that was emotionally and verbally abusive. At 16 years old, my father was saying that I was not his daughter. And so I began to, experiment with drugs. I began smoking marijuana, drinking wine with my friends at school. And I experimented with drugs all the way up until I was 52 years old. I had 2 children within that time frame. Each time I managed to stay clean and sober, but I was still unstable, where I was in and out of jail, from writing worthless checks to getting arrested for prostitution. And so my mother raised my 2 sons. All of these things was like a repeated cycle for me because, I didn't know how to cope with what was going on within my immediate household. I had got arrested in 2012 on a drug charge. Usually during those times, you just go in and they appoint you a court-appointed lawyer. Whatever the prosecutors are gonna give me, that's what they settle for, and they come back and they tell me. But this time it was different.
When I first met her, Annette was not this radiant ball of light that she is now. Annette was tired and she was frustrated and she was distrustful.
At first, when we was going to court, Mr. Mike Howard had told me that they was gonna offer me jail time. But he was like, I don't feel like you deserved it.
I was starting to see some of the telltale signs of somebody who had trauma in their life, who had struggled. And so I just kind of kept pulling at those strings until it all sort of came out.
He asked me, do you think you got a drug problem? Nobody never asked me that. So I kind of looked at him like hesitation, and I said, yes. He said, if I can get you in a drug rehabilitation center, would you go? I said, yes. So that's when the wheels started turning. He fought for me, went through another drug court, and got me 6 months rehabilitation. At those 6 months, I got counseling, and I was able to find out all the things that was going on with me way back in childhood. The reason why I was doing the things that I was doing, because I was screaming out for help. And back then, who was listening? Nobody was listening. He saved my life, really. He did. I didn't even know I was a victim myself because I had a drug problem. And the drugs had clouded my perception of myself. And so once he started to begin to help me, then I wanted to help myself. I started fighting for myself. Once I got out of rehab, I never stopped. Ms. Johnson, my probation officer at the state court, she suggested that New Friends, New Life would be the perfect place for me to start my journey. Through the services here at New Friends, New Life, I was able to rebuild myself, counseling, case management, and they had economic empowerment. I began to build a relationship with those women that were volunteering here at New Friends, New Life, and I wanted what they had. And they showed me how to get what they had. I went back to school in 2016 at Eastfield College. In 2019, I graduated at Eastfield with an associate's degree in substance abuse counseling. In 2022, I graduated from UNT Dallas with a bachelor's in sociology and magna cum laude.
It's so amazing to witness and is an absolute full circle moment for us.
It's no secret about my story here at New Friends, New Life, because every time I mostly did an interview, I always talked about the attorney that saved my life. Never did I have any idea to go back and look at my court documents to see exactly who that attorney was.
Fast forward a number of years, and I am talking to a Dallas County prosecutor named Jen Catchell, and it's pretty clear on the phone call that Jen is not really listening to what I'm saying. And so finally Jen says, out of the blue, this is you. And then she says, okay, I'm sorry, I've been half listening and half reading this news article that was in the Dallas Morning News about this incredible woman, Annette. What had happened was Jen was so moved by it, she wanted to know who this unnamed court-appointed attorney was. And so she went and she looked it up in the system and saw that it was me while she's on the phone with me. What are the odds? And I read the article and it was amazing. And in the article, it mentioned that Annette was working for New Friends, New Life. And so I went on New Friends, New Life's website and there was her contact email. And so I sent her an email saying, I think I'm the lawyer that you're talking about. And that was the beginning.
This is what I responded and said. Oh my God. First, I'd like to thank you and that judge for saving my life some 10 years ago. I am so glad that you especially looked beyond my faults and saw my needs. Never knew that fate would make this day a reality, that our paths would ever cross again. But I am so glad that it did. If possible, I would like to take you to lunch and share my accomplishments with you.
It was an amazing lunch.
Yes, it was.
We met in Highland Park Village at a little bistro that Annette suggested. Remember, I have not seen this woman since 2012, since she was in the jail wearing jail scrubs, and now she is pulling up in her own car, taking me to lunch. Just the shift in that was so amazing to me.
I want to say thank you once again, because without you, I don't know where I would be in this journey of my life. You've seen something in me that I didn't even see in myself. It never.
It reminds me of a quote by Ram Dass who said, "We're all just walking each other home." And I feel like that's what Mike did.
It's so easy to see people as other. What struck me was how similar our backgrounds are. My father died when I was young, and I had a single mother, and I got in trouble, and I was angry and using drugs and all of that. Mm-hmm. But the difference was I lived in a nice neighborhood. I had a family that was stable around my instability, and that was the difference. But for a million little circumstances, I would be in exactly Annette's shoes.
The courage that it takes is so inspiring and takes me back to those women who became board members when we started 25 years ago. They knew that they could do something differently for this woman. And I think if we all thought like that, we could really change the world.
Healing and transformation is possible. Even my relationship with my dad, before he passed away, I was able to forgive and let that go, and able to be the daughter that I know that I was supposed to be to him in his dying days. My mother continued to pray for me, and now I am reaping all of those benefits from all of those prayers. And she got to see that in full fruition before she passed away. This journey has been a phenomenal journey, and if I had to live this life all over again, I would do it again.
To have our women sit across from a woman who can say, I know your fears and your hopes, and I did it and you can do it too, that's just a message that no one else can bring.
We just walking each other home. Thanks for the journey, Mike.
You're very welcome.